Good evening! Breaking news! This just in a shocking turn of events, New Jersey Institute of Technology, better known as NJIT, has reported that they will be acquiring Rutgers Newark right across the street in a shocking turn of events right after the recent faculty strike. That's right, Peter. Apparently, NJIT saw an opportunity and decided to pounce on it like cat in a mouse. Do we know any details about the acquisition? Yes, we do. NJIT will be paying Rutgers Newark in both cash and meal swipes, and we do not know exactly how much money in cash NJIT will be paying the Rutgers Newark, but we do know that NJIT will be paying up to 10 years of meal swipes, which is a ridiculous amount of monies. Meal swipes? That's certainly an interesting way to pay an acquisition. Do we know why NJIT chose to pay in such a way? Well, NJIT has a surplus of meal swipes, and they realized that this would be probably one of the best ways to get rid of them. Also, they thought that it would be a smart idea to give some people some free meals, especially after that big faculty strike. That's certainly an interesting approach. Do we know how the faculty at Rutgers Newark feel about this? Well, we spoke to a few of them, and let's just say they are not too happy. We spoke to one professor who said, I did not spend 6 years at Rutgers Newark to pursue my PhD just to be traded for a couple chicken tenders and fries. And you could tell that they were very passionate about that. Another professor said that they were scared how this acquisition will impact their research funding going forward. So definitely a lot of questions in the air. Ha 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 ha. That's hilarious. But in all seriousness, do we know how this acquisition will impact the students at both of the universities? Well, it's hard to say, Petar. As you know, NJIT is very well known for its engineering programs, so it's gonna be a little hard to figure out how they will match that with Rutgers Newark, which has a big presence in some of the social sciences. But one thing's for sure is I'm sure that they will be setting up a meal swipe management one-on-one course to make sure all the new students have enough knowledge on how to use their newfound wealth in meal swipes. Well, that's certainly one way to use meal swipes. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this story as it develops. Thanks for the update, Petar. Anytime, Petar.
We're live. Oh, sorry. Hello, and welcome to Control Over Mother Nature News Forecast, or COM for short, here on Channel 312. Today we're doing a segment for the New Jersey Institute of Technology, or NJIT for short, located in Newark, New Jersey. They are one of the top STEM schools all across the nation. They are a polytechnic school, one of only 37. And the weather outside of Newark today, we're going to start off with the winds, and then we're going to go into the actual weather. So the winds today are 45 miles per hour due east. You might be asking, why don't you see any wind? I'm standing towards the north, so the winds do not affect me. Now, going into the weather over the past week, Monday it was 5 miles per hour. Tuesday it was 7 miles per hour. Wednesday there was no winds at 0 miles per hour. Thursday there was negative 17 miles per hour. Friday it was 12 miles per hour. Today, Saturday, it is 45 miles per hour due east, and tomorrow, Sunday, it will be 25 kilometers per hour. You might be asking yourself, why is it kilometers? We're doing a segment over in the United Kingdom, and they use darn metric. And here we only use imperial, but we have to use metric due to the fact that our audience will be. Now, on to my colleague's segment. We'll be right back with the weather here in Newark.
Hello, Highlanders, and welcome to your daily sports segment with your host, Braden Gobert. We have a very interesting news story for you today. As you may have heard, NJIT plans to buy Rutgers Newark, so that leaves us in the sports world wondering what will happen to each school's prospective sports teams. As you may know, NJIT has men's and women's basketball, cross country, track and field, fencing, soccer, tennis, and volleyball, in addition to baseball, men's swim and dive, and men's lacrosse. And these teams all participate in the NCAA Division I level. Rutgers Newark, on the other hand, has baseball, softball, and men's and women's basketball, cross country, soccer, track and field, and volleyball, and these sports all compete at an NCAA Division III level. So the big question is, what will happen to these overlapping teams? Well, there have been a few ideas that have been tossed around to decide the fate of these teams. The first, and most boring in my opinion, is a buyout that is being negotiated by both athletic directors that involves, you guessed it, more meal swipes. It seems NJIT just has way too many of these things. Anyways, the proposed buyout would keep all current NJIT teams. In exchange, the Rutgers Newark teams would no longer exist, but the players and coaching staff would get unlimited meal swipes for their time at NJIT. Next up, we have something with a little more excitement. This would be a big winner-take-all tournament in which each school's prospective sports teams played each other to decide their future at NJIT. The winning team would get to represent NJIT in the upcoming sports season, and the losing team would be cut. This might be the most exciting event in Newark sports history in the recent years, going back to when the Devils won the Stanley Cup in 2003. Anyways, the basketball game is set to be called the Battle for Brick City, named after Newark. However, I hope we don't see too many of these in the game. Anyways, since NJIT is a Division I program, we should expect to see most of their teams winning these games. However, there is room for upsets, and maybe we might see some Rutgers Newark teams in our future. Anyways, I wish both teams the best of luck in these games. And go Highlanders. I mean, Scarlet Raiders. Maybe Scarlet Highlanders? We can decide the mascot at a later date, but I thought that might be a good option. Anyways, there are a few other ideas that aren't gaining much traction. These would possibly be a dance-off or karaoke contest in the Highlander pub. Now that could be interesting. Let's move on to more recent news. NJIT has just hired a men's basketball coach for their men's basketball team. His name is Grant Billingmeyer, and he was inducted in a ceremony in the WEC last Thursday. Speeches came from the university president, the athletic director, and Billingmeyer himself. He was previously a coach at Maryland University and played basketball at Seton Hall University. Hopefully he can lead us to a better season than last year, and I wish the basketball team a best of luck with their new coach. Other than that, a few NJIT teams brought their seasons to a close this past weekend, including men's volleyball, and men's and women's tennis. Men's volleyball competed in the EIVA conference tournament, in which they started as a 6th seed and started by upsetting the number 3 seed Charleston University. They then moved on to play Princeton the next day, the number 2 seed, which they lost to, and this brought an end to their season. Next up, men's and women's tennis. both went down to the Southland Conference Tournament, where they had unfortunate first-round losses. However, NJIT's Pablo Perez Ramos earned an impressive number 1 in the singles spot after defeating the Conference Player of the Year. Other than that, NJIT baseball is on a 6-game win streak. So we wish all NJIT student athletes the best of luck in their future endeavors. And that concludes our sports broadcast. Thank you for listening. Go Highlanders. And now, back to you, studio.
The new man-made horror of the day is a new app that lets you see ghosts. It's called Beautiful. You just point your phone at any haunted location and it shows you all the ghosts that are there. This house seems to have quite the history with monsters, according to the neighbors. Well, apparently, there have been reports of some strange noises and sightings of paranormal activity in this area for years. We have a sketch here of the most commonly seen monster, which was done by the family next door. Now let's see how haunted this house is. Look, there's a ghost behind the camera. Tackle him, boys. In other news, there's something new for all you hopeless romantics out there. The latest dating app called Control Z Love is creating a stir in the dating world. The app's developers claim that it has the power to undo any mistake made in a relationship. Yes, you heard that right. No more crying over spilled milk or missed opportunities. Whenever there is a mistake that is made, the normally grayed out undo button will turn pink, allowing the mistake to be undone. To test this out, a match was set up for me on my phone. Let me get this in frame. The person they set me up with seems like a nice person, so let's send a bad pickup line and see how it goes. We'll try the classic, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? As expected, I was left on red. Now let's try the undo button. Okay, the message disappeared. Let's try a joke this time. How about, why did the chicken cross the road? No response. Looks like I need more than just this app. Let's try again. Huh? The undo button is still up. Let's try pressing it again. Well, there's no fixing that one, and many others believe the same. They doubt whether the app is really a solution to a relationship's problems or just a band-aid for deeper issues. Undoing mistakes in a relationship is not always a solution. Sometimes it's important to have difficult conversations and work through issues together. Control Z Love may provide a temporary fix, but it's not a substitute for real communication and understanding. Now back to you.
Thank you for welcoming me back on the show. Now we're going to go into the weather. Today, there's a high of 69 degrees and a low of 42 degrees. Last Monday, we had a high of 70 and a low of 40. This Monday, we will have a high of 85 and a low of 70. Tuesday will be a high of 75 and a low of 60. Wednesday, we will have a high of negative 13 and a low of negative 40. All obviously in Fahrenheit because we only use imperial
Good evening, everyone. It's Petar again, ready to update you guys with some more breaking news as to the recent reportage of the acquisition that NJIT will be acquiring Rutgers Newark. As of right now, all that we know is that the meal swipes will be the main source of payment. It really does seem like the academic world is using that and that only as its main payment. Have we heard any word from the officials at either one of the schools as to how this will all go about? Well, we reached out to both universities and we heard from both sides. From NJIT, what we are hearing is that a spokesperson is very excited that these two universities will be joining together to combine both of their amazing programs and make even better programs in the future. Rutgers Newark representative is a little scared to see exactly how everything will play out and are not sure if everything will go as planned for their faculty and for their students. Let's see what happens. It's interesting to see how this acquisition will play out in the long run. Do we have any information as to when the acquisition will truly take place? The date of the acquisition has not been disclosed yet, but we do know that both universities are working together to figure out both the legal and administrative processes to make sure the acquisition happens in the very near future. Thanks, Petar, for keeping us updated on this further developing story. We'll make sure to keep our viewers in touch with all the latest news and updates surrounding this huge acquisition by NJIT. Till then, our viewers, make sure to keep your meal swipes close, as you never know when you might need them.
Good day to you folk. This is your Media and Arts Expert Research Special Analyst, reporter Ewan Lee, reporting to you from the luxurious setting of my room. Much like the arts department, this studio is very underfunded. So underfunded, in fact, I don't remember the last time I got a paycheck. Why am I even here? What am I doing this for? In other less depressing news, I'm here to present you information about the arts and media, even though no one really cares this much because no matter how beautiful art may be or what's going on in the media, it has little to no direct or concrete impact on the gradually declining state of the world. Let's start with music. In terms of music, there is one song in the heads of everyone around the world, and it's got the same name as one of many delectable fruits: peaches. The song Peaches by Jack Black from the hit movie The Super Mario Bros. Movie sweeps the nation and refuses to leave the heads of everyone around the globe. Here's a short snippet.
Peach, understand, I'm gonna love you till the very end. Peaches, 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 oh yeah, oh, Mario, Luigi, and a Donkey Kong too. 1,000 troops of Koopas couldn't keep me from you. Princess Peach, at the end of the line, I'll make you mine. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. Oh, yeah. Oh.
What a catchy song. It always keeps playing in my head, just like everyone else who's heard this song. But seriously, it won't stop. Make it stop. Peaches, 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 peaches. On to fashion. While we're on the topic of the Super Mario Brothers, the fashion company known as Balenciaga releases a new line of clothing inspired by the hit video game and now movie to ride Nintendo's wave, because big industries nowadays have no source of originality or talent in their marketing or product making, so they choose to grasp for dear life onto the next popular thing. Here, take a look.
It's a me, Balenciaga.
Your Balenciaga is in another castle.
You're too late, Mario. Balenciaga is already mine.
Isn't that something? Never forget what Balenciaga did. Now let's talk about the media and arts right here in our beloved school, the New Jersey Institute of Technology. This last weekend, from April 19th to April 23rd, the NJIT Theater Program, TEP, which stands for Theater Entertainment Production, put on The Oak Table, written by Michelle Rittenhouse and directed by Rodney Reyes. As per usual, the theater program is on the rise, with performances that get better every time. This information is not biased whatsoever, and no amount of torture, bribery, or persistence will get me to admit such information because I must maintain a neutral opinion as a reporter to keep this job. Wait, I'm not even getting paid. Why do I care? The theater program at NJIT is the best program and deserves more funding so they can put on better shows. Now we move on to our media portion of this segment. The US government is trying to ban TikTok for they fear that China is using the app to spy on the US and gather information about their citizens through the app. The action of them banning it will likely be unsuccessful since the youth is the future, and there is a wave of people rebutting the government, arguing that the government is trying to silence the people. Plus, what is the government getting so defensive for? They already probably have all of our private information and are collecting it as we speak, and have it in a big database that the Chinese government could easily hack into and obtain. Obviously, the government does not have the right mindset here, but this is not the political segment, so I won't get into all that. Media. It's literally just TikTok. Just go on TikTok, you'll get all the information you'll ever need. Lastly, we have a message from our special guest, Marble. She is around 5 weeks old now and is a trouble magnet. Don't ask me how I can afford a cat, because you really don't want to know. It costs me everything. Everything. Marble's a very playful cat, but she's very feisty. I can't remember how many times I've woken up with bite or scratch marks on my legs and arms. What do you have to say for yourself, Marble? Thank you, Marble. Now back to you in the stew.